Hello and welcome to a very special episode of A Celtic State of Mind during a very special charity weekend, all in the name of three fantastic charities. Just as Celtic are about to make history, a quadruple treble is on the pipeline, along with our 12th consecutive trophy. My name is Erin Boyle. Some of you may know me from my Celtic poetry, and others may know me from the Kano Foundation, a charity that keeps football free for kids. Tonight, I am joined by Pat Griffin, Brian Ainsley, and Mark Hingsman, three long-standing Kano Foundation trustees. Since 2010, the lads have brought over 10,000 children, young people and families over the turnstiles, and I'm sure those who attend home games on a regular basis will be familiar with the Kano kids making noise for the boys in section 115. Pat, Mark and Brian, thank you very much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Well,
10 years.
10
years of the Kano. Mark, you've been there from the beginning. I said, really, you're our co-founder. What inspired the Kano Foundation back in 2010, and what made it the success that it is today?
Well, the start of the Kano Foundation goes back to the Bringing Martin Home campaign, which I think a lot of people are probably familiar with. But for those who don't know who Martin Kane is and where the Kano name came from, Martin was a boy in Australia who was on the Celtic Quick News blog quite a lot. And what happened was he took very unwell virtually overnight. He went home from work, went to his bed as normal, and then woke up during the night feeling unwell. And the next day was paralysed from the neck down. Consequently, some of the guys on Celtic Quick News, to cut a long story short, got themselves together to raise some money due to the fact that Martin was stuck in hospital. He couldn't go home because his house needed adapted, and it was going to cost a substantial amount of money to do so. So thankfully, they managed to raise the money under the name of Bringing Martin Home, and they got the money raised, and effectively the idea was he would have his house adapted. The care package would be put in place by the Australian authorities, and Martin would be back home with his family. So that happened, and we thought at the time that was probably going to be the end of it. However, John Paul, who was also on the Celtic Quick News website, came up with the idea of rewarding some kids who had assisted with a massive bucket collection for the campaign. And the idea was to buy them some from the shop or take them along to a game. And that really sparked off the idea of taking kids along to Celtic Park to see football. It started off, it was a bit of a whirlwind. I went along with John Paul to the Celtic office with the intention of purchasing 20 season tickets. And the idea being that we would have 20 season tickets to start with and see how it went. John Paul was sitting in the office and blurted out that, no, we'll buy 50. And I said, look, we've actually rubbed the gallery here and we're going to buy 50 season tickets to take kids to football. But thankfully we took the 50. John Paul took out his credit card and paid for those tickets to start with. And then thereafter it was a case of starting the fundraising. So that's when that kicked in, and it was I think the first thing we did was probably a comedy night. Patrick Rollink came along and some other comedians, and that was the sort of first event. And then it started just a case of getting funds together. And as always, the Celtic support gave us such great backing, both as a whole and individuals doing things for it to raise money for us. And consequently, it just started to grow from that relatively small 50 tickets up to where we are today. So that's where the Kano Foundation originated from, and that's where the name came from under Martin Kane.
We've came a long way in such a short time, and you guys must be so proud of the accomplishments in such a short space of time. 10 years with 186 season tickets, with an average of 134 kids each match day. How do we go about organising our match days, and what is it like in the day of the life of a Kano volunteer?
Bloody hectic. It's great. The actual process starts months in advance. You know, we've got the games booked months in advance. People will either get in touch with us directly, saying somebody told us you'll be able to take us to the football, and then we point everybody to the website to make a formal application. So basically, people will apply through the website. We'll look at it, and it's not a case of whether they fit the criteria or they're suitable. It's mainly to find out where we can fit them in. Just about everybody who actually applies for a game will get a game, you know, at some stage. So we have the applications come in. We look at the games coming up ahead, and we try and fit them in. You know, if we've got big groups, small groups, sometimes one group will take up the whole game. Then what we do is we send out some paperwork to them to say, right, this is the game we want to offer you. Are you going to accept that game? And if they do, then we send out a formal letter to them with all the instructions and a couple of forums to fill in when they bring the kids on the day of the game, and that's basically to just the kids' names and date of birth to comply with season ticket rules to make sure that the kids are under 13, and basically disclaimer for, you know, should they want to use their photographs or videos for social media. Then they come along and to the game. So a typical day is actually hectic. It starts normally about, for a 3 o'clock game, it starts about 10 in the morning for me. Sometimes we're at if we've got a group coming over from Ireland or a group coming early, then we're at the stadium for 11:30 to meet them. Hopefully try and get a wee mini tour arranged, just, you know, through the tunnel and into the dugouts. And then we take them for something to eat. And so by the time we get home, you're looking at being out from about 10 in the morning. We'll get home at about 8 o'clock at night. And it's hard sometimes to actually get to watch the game because you're that busy during the game, you know, make sure everybody's okay. A lot of the times, a lot of the goals we've missed it's been quite a few. So we go home and pick up and find out where we can see them online. But it's hectic, but it's like an organised chaos. People who come along say, don't know how you guys manage it, you know, but it's just something we're used to. We've just been doing it for years, you know. It's a great experience for anybody who hasn't come along and seen what we've done. When you see a kid or even an adult coming into that stadium for the first time and they stop at the top of the stairs and have one look around, you can see that, you know, they're like, wow. And you know that you've caught them then. And for most of the kids, that's it. It's like a love affair that goes on for the rest of their life.
That's what I always say. The kids always leave. We've had kids from Aberdeen, kids from Dundee, and they just hooked. You know, it's an instant love straight away. Even for the teachers as well. Sometimes the teachers are excited and the kids are excited. Brian, what did it mean to you reaching 1,000 kids over the turnstiles? And can you believe that it was a year ago already? Because this year's just flowing in. We should be at like 15,000 kids now. I think we're just about to reach 11,000. What did the 10,000 kid mean to you?
It meant everything, but every single kid that comes through the turnstile, as Pat said, they just look in wonderment. They're outside the stadium, they're slightly excited. I don't give them blue Smarties. I make sure that they get wound up so that they're hyper going in. I mean, we've got to look at Mark. Mark had a full head of hair probably when this started, and look at him now. But no, the kids...
I'm only 23. Look at me.
When we started off, I came in a year into the Kano Foundation, and at that stage we were growing existentially. But the whole thing was always the same. It was a kid in wonderment when they got to the top of the stairs and looked out to the stadium, and an empty stadium it was. They just looked across. And every single time I see that, whether it's a kid or whether it's a guardian, I get the same feeling, the very same facts that I got when I went to my first game with my dad, and that's what the kids are like, because in most cases they won't be able to afford it. The 10,000th kid, he came down for Aberdeen. Aberdeen supporter, believe it or not.
Brian,
what?
That was the 9,000 kids.
See, there you go. That's what happens. Our next game should be 11,000, so that's they merge into each other now.
It's so special, honestly. 10,000 kids was a girl called Erin, funnily enough, from Clydebank. And,
so it was.
And the display was chaos. Me and Erin and the teacher went onto the pitch. So we had a bird's eye view of our section of all you guys trying to organise this display. And the pictures of our display, you know, the way I see it is we're almost like a mini Green Brigade, you know, and this was like a wee mini tifo for the kids. It was magic. On the note of match day, a lot of people don't know who we are, who might be listening, or they might see us, but they just might not know exactly who we are. So let's take a wee look back at some of our match day highlights over the years.
The smiles on those faces, you'll see them from far and wide. Tell me, paradise. Tell me, have you ever seen paradise? Oh, tell me, have you ever seen paradise?
Kano Foundation. Woo! Thank you, Kano Foundation. You're nuts!
I'm actually tearing up watching that. How does that make you feel, guys, knowing that it's been 10 months since we've seen those faces?
You just want to be back.
You
want to be in that stadium with the kids and bouncing about before the game and then during the game. The game's immaterial at times because it's the kids' enjoyment.
Like I was saying, you know, half the time we don't get to see the game. You know, we're that involved with the kids. But yeah, you do miss it. You know, it's
the great thing is that Brian's at the same level as the kids. That's a great thing. Brian is at the same level as the kids. He's just a big kid himself.
Brian is known as the type for a park kid. You can't miss him. And in fact, Brian, not only are you the Pied Piper a Parkhead, but recently you also took character as the Kano Grinch last year at Christmas. How did that feel, hitting the papers once again?
It was great fun. Eddie Cantwell gave us 2 outfits for our Christmas party. One was a minion, which would fit Joe Mackin very well because it's that round. And I took the Grinch and I wore it to the game. And it was absolutely fantastic. I lost half a stone, I must admit, even though it was a cold December day. But bouncing about in paradise, dressed as a Grinch, there was a picture of me with Santa, and Santa sitting next to me looks about 2'1". But I loved it, and so did the kids. They thought it was fantastic. The funny story, we had the Christmas party the next day, and Lee Griffiths was invited along. And Lee FaceTimed his son up in Dundee and said, "What'd you think of this?" and put on the Grinch's head. And then after that said, "Can I borrow it for Christmas Day?" So I thought, can I do this? So gave him the outfit, away he went, and then I phoned Eddie and said, "Eddie, can Lee Griffiths borrow the Grinch outfit? He said, yeah, no problem. I says, just as well. He's halfway up the M8 to Dundee.
That was the most surreal moment of my life. It was the Christmas party last year. Joe was a minion, you were the Kano Grinch, and young Sarah and I were Mickey and Minnie. And there was a moment where Lee was standing in the middle of us and we're talking to Lee Griffiths' kids dressed as Minnie and Mickey. And it was just a moment where I was like, people don't realise that the Kennel Foundation is just so much more than just taking the kids, you know, to Matchdays. The Christmas party is one of our events out with Matchdays, but not only do we do so much for the kids, but we also like to give back to our supporters as well. And Joe, who turned 50 last night, so a big happy birthday, because he'll be listening and loving it, hopefully. Joe is a man when it comes to fundraising events, from golf days to dinner dances, year in and year out. Our dinner dance is the highlight of the year. How important is this night for our funds, and what makes it so brilliant?
Well, I think it's a chance to actually thank people personally for all the support. Because not only do a lot of the people come to the dance, they also support us during the year. We come to the golf days and donations here and there, and it's just a good chance to let your hair down and and celebrate the fact that you managed to get through another year, and as I say, personally go around and thank and speak to people. And the good thing about one of the greatest things about getting involved with the Kano Foundation is the amount of friends that we've made over the years, the amount of good people out there, not just the people who donate, but all the people who bring the groups. And you can't forget that out with the match day, they come and bring the kids in the match day, but out with the match day, these guys are there 24/7 for these kids. They're always there, always in the background with their youth groups and whatever. So it's good to see some of them and basically just, as I say, relax, get to know everybody and just say thanks very much for your support.
Definitely. Brian, you're always a good laugh at the dinner dances. So what's been your favourite, if you have a year, what's your favourite year? Because it's just, I wasn't there at the Radisson, for example. I've only experienced one dance. It feels as if I've been here forever. What's been your favourite year?
Well, I think when you look back at certain events, you look back at, we pre-arranged these well in advance, a year in advance. Joe was the driving force behind it. So we had booked Radisson Blue, and we thought, right, this is fantastic. We'd get John O'Farrell of Celtic Canvas Art, can't praise him enough, who dressed the Radisson Blue inside the hall. He also dressed the stairs on the way up, and we had a fantastic time. But we were dressed in the room, and Celtic were playing somebody that Saturday at Govan. And the result was 1-5. And we were watching it on the big screens in the actual hall. And there was a band who were playing the O2 Academy up the stairs. And they were there in their room trying to get the game, and we were all watching it and enjoying it in the Radisson. And it was just a fantastic feeling that night, because everybody, if we'd have won or if we'd have got beat that day, we would have still had the same atmosphere. Everybody came into that night and everybody was bouncing, and it was fantastic. And then Joe took over as the DJ at the end, and it was just one of the cracking nights. And the weird thing is, I hadn't had a drink all night until I went down into the bar after the event, and there was the band who had played the O2 Academy, stoating about with bottles of vodka and stuff like that, and saying, where's the private lounge? I says, there isn't one. The celebrities are out here. They've just been to a dance. And they were hopping mad because they didn't actually get to see the game, and we'd watched it. But things like that, meeting people, as Pat said, letting their hair down and just having a fantastic night. And I've not known one person who hasn't came along and said, you could charge a fortune for this. We don't want to do that. We don't want to rip people off. We want to give them as good a night as possible, whether it's at Celtic Park, whether it's in the Radisson, or whether it's anywhere else that we book. It's all about everybody coming along, having a fantastic night and just enjoying it.
Definitely. And instead of just talking about it, let's take a wee look back at some of the highlights of our dances. You know, it's fantastic. So let's see. It makes me so emotional watching back anything. Guys, without having our dance this year, what problems does that, what problems do we face in a post-COVID world? What challenges has the Kano faced throughout the coronavirus pandemic? Nicola Sturgeon just released a statement there. I thought, oh, Nicola, you pick your times, eh? She was talking about potentially getting into a lockdown on Boxing Day. What does this set in place for us looking to the future?
I think it all started
first and foremost.
On you go, Mark.
Sorry, I think obviously the first and foremost the main aim of the Kennel Foundation is to take kids to football matches, and that's obviously very difficult just now. In fact, it's impossible just now, and that makes it obviously very difficult for us. So we've just got to plan for a future when things do go back to normal or semi-normal, and we can try to get at least partial crowds in. I don't know when that'll be, or if it'll be this season, but that's all we do. And in the meantime, we've got to ensure that financially we're still in a position to do that. So that this year, as we still have to try and go through the whole fundraising process, and we normally have a bucket collection at the start of the season, but as you know, Erin, we made that a virtual bucket collection, and thankfully it was very successful, but it allowed us to give us some funds to keep things going, during this COVID time, so as people don't forget about us, because, people see us in the stadium and people know who we are, but, when there's nobody there to see you, you can sort of fall away and fall into the background. So it was important that we still kept our focus, and the Celtic support still knew we were there, and we were going to come back at some point. Obviously, the public face of the Kano Foundation is seeing the kids going into the stadium. A lot of work is on the background, as Pat touched on earlier, with the organisation that goes into a game day, and keeping the things going generally. But it's important that we sort of kept our finances going and our fundraising going throughout that. As I say, the public face is Bride and Pat and Joe when they take the stadiums, and obviously when you look at them, they've got the sort of faces that your parents told you to stay away from when you were younger. But that's where we're at just now. It's like we're like everyone else. We're at the awaiting game stage.
Definitely. On you go, Brian.
Yeah, that's one of the things that before the season started, we had to sit down and look, and at that stage we were looking to get into the stadiums in August. So we had to pay for the season tickets without knowing what the future held. So we had to pay out for those 186 tickets. And once they were paid out, look at the fundraising to actually make sure that the money was in place, that money had been paid for out. So we had to bring it back in. Thankfully, the Celtic support and others have rallied round us. But we're still at that stage where we'll have to look at it again at this time, well, in probably April, May next year as well.
Definitely, it's a real tough time for everybody, and that's what's so amazing about events like this that Paul John Dykes and the Celtic State of Mind team are running for 3 fantastic charities. It's really important, you know. It's a hard time of year as it is, let alone during a pandemic. So it's really, you know, thank you to everybody that's tuning in. Thank you to everybody that's donating. It really means the world to everybody that's been involved this weekend. And, you know, looking forward to our future. We won't be going away anytime soon. You'll be seeing us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, so give us a wee follow. But more importantly, the kids will always, as long as Celtic is here, the Kano Foundation will be here. So please do donate if you can as well. On our website, we have, you know, like £1 a month and, you know, things like that. Please do if you can. On that note, we would not be here if it wasn't for our amazing supporters throughout the year. You guys are honestly what makes the Kano Foundation so special all over the world, and we cannot thank you all enough. So instead of thanking you and being here all night mentioning all of our amazing supporters and friends all over the world, here are some of your beautiful wee faces that we're missing ever so dearly.
I would like to say a huge happy birthday and congratulations to the Kano Foundation. 10 whole years of keeping football free for kids. From all the members of the Belfast Celtic Centre.
Congratulations to the Kano Foundation. 10 years of getting kids through the turnstiles at Celtic Park. What an achievement. Well done to Joe and everyone involved. From Perth CSC, Western Australia.
Wow, 10 years of the Kano Foundation. Unbelievable the work you have done. Bringing so many kids, giving them a lift over the turnstile, giving them a gift, and giving them the gift of Celtic. From all the team at more than 90 minutes, we wish you all the best for the next 10 years.
Happy 10th birthday and congratulations. I love you so much. Here.
Happy 10th anniversary to everybody at the Kano Foundation. From us all here at the Gala Shield Celtic Supporters Club, even though I'm here myself. But we'll all be back here again soon, guys. So well done, and a big congratulations for getting all those kids through the doors at Parkhead free of charge. Hail, hail!
Hi, congratulations to the Kano Foundation for 10 amazing years from the Trenton Andy Doyle Celtic Supporters Club here in Trenton, New Jersey. May you continue for another 10, 20, 30 years doing great work on behalf of the Celtic family. I'm very excited myself because today is my first day at a new job. I'll be teaching sporting integrity here.
Hi Kano Foundation, I'd like to wish you a happy anniversary. I'm proud of all the great work you're doing back there at Celtic Park, and I'd like to again wish you a happy anniversary from all the members of the Los Angeles Celtic Supporters Club.
Hail to all at the Kano Foundation. On behalf of myself and here from Toronto Pearson Airport, and yes, we are still flying and we'll be flying home to see you soon enough. Again, on behalf of the North American Federation, Joe, Brian, everybody there, congratulations on a fantastic 10 years. The Federation is more than happy and proud to be associated with you guys. Congratulations, keep up the good work, and we'll see you for another great 10 years. God bless, hail, see you soon.
This is Chris from the Plowboys CSC, Philadelphia. On behalf of myself and the rest of the Plowboys family, I want to congratulate the Kano Foundation on 10 years of keeping soccer free for kids. Congratulations guys, and keep up the good work.
The Kano Foundation has taken 10,000 kids to Celtic Park to experience their first game of excitement and joy
watching Celtic.
Happy 10th birthday to the Kano Foundation from Jill and Dave in California.
Congratulations on the great job you do for the kids. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.
Go Kano.
Go Celtic.
Hello everyone. Hugo Strani here in Toronto, Canada, on the shores of Lake Ontario. Wishing a very happy 10th birthday to everyone at the Kano Foundation. Congratulations on 10 years of truly inspirational hard work, your commitment and dedication for a great inspiring foundation. And I salute all the hard-working team of volunteers and workers. And of course, somebody's going to drive the bus. And a big shout out to Mr. Joe Mackin and Mr. Brian Ainsley for all the work that you do. And as we go through this COVID-19, charity fundraising work has suffered. So let's make a good commitment as we come to the beginning of an end, as we get back to the new normal, to make Kano stronger and better for 2020 and beyond. I wish you all a very happy 10th birthday. I hope you're well. I hope you're safe. And of course, congratulations on 9 in a row for our own beloved Celtic Football Club. My personal wish is to be with you all for your 10th anniversary Kano Foundation in Glasgow next year. So I look forward to that. I also have another personal wish, and that is that one of these days I'm going to get to hear Joe Mackin's real voice, because by the time I get to Vegas, Joe is completely hoarse. He's been there a few days before me. So Joe, maybe I'll get to hear your real voice one of these days. A salute to Kano. Thank you. Garamila Margaret, merci beaucoup, and happy birthday.
Hi, Paul Kane here from Perth, Australia. Martin brother. Just like to wish the Kano Foundation many happy returns on the 10th anniversary, and keep up the good work, guys. I know it's not the best time of year, but stay safe. And hopefully we'll be back in paradise soon, shouting for the hoops. God bless, guys. Have a great day, yeah?
More tears from me. It's just too much.
I just loved that wee girl at the beginning, sitting in the car. She was brilliant.
She's an absolute star, honestly. And at the end, I cut it off for time, but they sing "Happy Birthday" to the Kano in Gaelic, and it was amazing. That video was taken from our 10th birthday in July there, which feels like a lifetime ago. I can't believe it was half a year ago already. Guys, I've got a wee question for you. As a writer, writing poetry a lot to do with the club and our backgrounds and our kind of Glasgow Irish heritage. What was your very first Celtic game? This is for inspiration. Tell me a little bit about your first Celtic game. What was it that made it so special? And these kids are coming in and experiencing their first Celtic game. Was it anything like yours?
I can't remember mine. It was so long ago. I can't remember who it was against or whatever. I was that young. Sorry.
Brian, what about you? Have you got any stories?
Yeah, I was 9. 1st of May 1971. And
You've
it was the
written
last.
that down. You've looked that up.
I was going to say, you get some.
No, I can remember it. And it'll stay with me till the day I die, because it's what I've seen the kids every time. My eyes nearly popped out of my head, because I walked into that stadium at the Celtic end and round and watched the game. And it was the last game of the Lisbon Lions. And it was 3-0 at half time. And all it was wave after wave of attack from Celtic. And I started crying in the second half when Clyde scored. But the game ended up 6-1. And I thought, this is what happens every game. And I thought every single time that would continue to happen. We went through bad times a few years after it, but once you're a Celtic supporter, it stays with you forever. And I was thankful that my dad took me through, and he said, you're not coming to another game because it's too dangerous. Because anybody going to the games in those days, you had the danger of the flying bottle or the wet trousers as you trudged through the terracing, or even worse, something else got you from behind as well. So you had to be careful. So that's my memory.
Mark, what about you? Any stories? I think there might be a wee bit of a delay for Mark. My first game was against...
I'm a bit like Pat. I don't really remember. I think it's just an age thing now.
I think there's a bit of a delay, Mark.
Well, I don't remember my first game. My first memory of going to a game was I was basically getting a lift over the turnstile. Ironically, because it's what we do for kids. And I remember getting upset when I turned around the corner and seen the stadium for the first time, and the big sign up saying schoolboys must not be lifted over the turnstiles. And I burst out greeting saying I couldn't get into the game, and everybody just laughed at me. So,
if you could pick one song to describe your childhood Celtic memories, what would it be and why?
For me, it will be Rod Stewart, Sailing. That's the earliest memory I have of the music at Celtic Park. It was quite popular just before the team came out, and it was kind of like a cue for my cousin who took me to the game to take me from where we were standing in the jungle and move me around to the end of the jungle near the Celtic end where it was a wee bit safer. But yeah, so I would go with Rod Stewart and Sailing.
Brian and Mark, what about you guys?
Well, for me, it was Sailing as well, because that's my earliest memories when I went to the games on my own in the Motherwell 9 bus and stood under the TV gantry in the old jungle, and the scarves were up in the air and it was fantastic. So yeah, that and Feed the Bear when Roy Aitken got up a bit of steam and started running at the opposition, and if you opened the gate he probably would have ran out the gate as well with the ball. But yeah, that would be the two.
Mark, what about you?
I think Mark's frozen in time.
I can see it.
As far as songs go, I've got a different. Oh, I can you.
Definitely a bit of a delay there, but not to worry. Guys, would you like a wee poem?
Who from it?
Oh, sorry?
Who from?
Myself.
Of course we would love it.
You know, we always look forward to your poems.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Go for it.
This wee poem was inspired by one of Andrew Milne's Celtic Soul podcast guests, and if you haven't seen it, please do watch it. He posts them. It's a Tuesday and a Friday on average anyway, and they're totally phenomenal. So he had Charlie Lord on, who is from New York, and the interview really resonated with me. So this is a wee poem for all the Celtic fans all over the world, home and away, who can't be with us at this moment as we are about to witness history, a quadruple treble. Celtic, why are you like this? You're making me greet the beat of my heart in my chest, the four-leaf clover on my breast. I'm so blessed to only be up the road, as they say, just 15 minutes away from paradise. Hundreds of thousands travel far and wide on ferries and flights of green and white. What a sight. Yet for me, it's 6:30 in the morning and a dodgy signal warning's popping up. The wains are in a strop. The wife's away to the shop. She's pissed off and I'm pissed off. And I woke up the whole house to miss kick-off. That means the group chat will be pinging and Parkhead will be singing, and I'm 3,218 miles away. No having a Scooby who Lennon's even played the group chat, and all I'm saying is, I just wish I was only up the road, as they say, just 15 minutes away from paradise. My youngest, you see, is only 3, too young to truly understand. But when I'm playing the songs and watching the game, and I'm like up the stairs, the fans, I close my eyes and I'm right there. I hear a chorus of supporters. I put my princess high up in my shoulders as she holds up her scarf of white and green, and she'll see those scenes and she'll fall in love. And in her American accent, she'll say, Dad, imagine we just lived up the road, just 15 minutes away from paradise. From the Bronx to LA, Cork to Toronto, Ballymena to Sydney to Rome, pilots in airports, sailors in boats, those passports will always find a way to come home. And the pubs will be Irish wherever you go. And the oil rigs will fly the flag high for a quadruple treble and 10 in a row. No matter where, no matter when. You know you've always got a friend, and that's what it means to be a Celtic supporter. Celtic, why are you like this? You're making me greet. A heart in my chest. I'm so blessed to be just up the road, as they say. 15 minutes away from paradise. Thanks.
Well done.
Thanks. It's weird doing that to you, isn't it? It's like a wee free audience. It's great. This is what the world looks like, isn't it? For the world of music and spoken word. I'm really missing my spoken word gig, so that poem spoke all about friendships within the Celtic community, and our Kano community is so special. Teresa and Tommy. Can we just talk about Teresa and Tommy for a second? Because I've never met a woman with so much energy and so much pride. No matter where she goes, last year she was in Thailand, raising money, raising funds wherever she goes. Talking to Neil, who's one of our Matchday volunteers, and he was saying he was scrolling through Twitter and he seen a picture of Alan Thompson in Thailand with a Kano scarf. And I thought, I wonder who's over there. And there Teresa was, handing him over his Kano scarf. If he's got any stories of Teresa and Tommy to share with the world, because they need praise.
Well, I'll start off with Tommy. He's my favourite elf ever. For Tommy to dress up for our Christmas parties year after year as an elf, I think's fantastic. But I think it's just to go out the house and escape for Teresa, because Teresa is a whirlwind. She'll go into pubs and ask them to take charity cans. She'll go and raise money anywhere she can. She'll go and raise funds for a tombola that she runs at the dances and approach hotels and other places to gift us stuff and then use that as part of the prizes on the tombola. It's absolutely brilliant. She's a whirlwind. She's absolutely stupendous. Can't praise her highly enough.
One of my first games a wee while ago now, Teresa gave me this top, and the first game I didn't really know anybody, I didn't really know you guys, I wasn't sure if this was going to be my thing, things like that. And I remember Teresa just gave me a big hug, like, that's you. Honestly, she's Teresa is two of our ambassadors. And we've also got a couple of patrons and a couple of ambassadors across the board. Brian, tell us a wee bit about our patrons.
Well, we're lucky enough in that all our patrons are heavily involved, especially like, say, Tom Boyd, who donates his time and energy to us and comes along to the golf day and promotes us whenever he can. We've got John Higgins, who's another superstar snooker player, but you wouldn't believe it because John Higgins himself is very modest and unassuming. And I had the cracking job of introducing him at the Radisson, and he was standing with Tom Boyd, John Fallon, Joe Miller, and a few others. And he says, "Why am I standing here with all of you? I play snooker. You're my heroes." And I says, "John, you're our hero to a lot of people. So, yeah, you deserve to be in that position." Cracking guy. Obviously, we've got the late Martin Kane. We've got Henrik Larsson. You don't need to say any words more than that. I think we've got the right people in place that help and assist us where possible. And going forward, we'll grow based on some of those patrons coming on board and putting us further.
Definitely. In the summer there, during our 10th birthday, we did a live stream, and Joe and I interviewed Tom Boyd and Simon Donnelly, and I have to say it was one of the great privileges and the honours of my 20 years on this planet. It was just, you know, having Tom Boyd as a patron. He's just a really great guy. Joe told me a story about when him and Tom first met. Well, you know, the early days anyway of their friendship. And Joe was getting all excited telling me this story. And he was like, and he turned around and he said to me, "Listen, Joe, listen, my friends just call me Tam. So just call me Tam." And I always slag Joe for that, because it just, yesterday Joe was 50, and Tom Boyd had gave me a message alongside hundreds of thousands of people all over the world. And Tom gave me a message and he texted me like, "Did you see this? Did you see Tom Boyd message me?" I was like,
I thought you were going to say there, "My friends call me Tam, so you can call me Thomas." But yeah, it's great. It's great with it, you know, the patrons that we've got. You know, obviously Scott Brown as well, who quite kindly gave his armband to one of the kids who come along that day to watch one of the games. And a lot of the patrons, you know, do a hell of a lot for us, you know. And for a lot of them, it's just a matter of saying, you know, just give us a mention, just say hello to us, come along to our night, speak to other people. You know, that's basically what we're trying to do, is when we have nights, get as many good Celtic people and ex-Celtic players and hopefully some current players there, so that it gives the people coming along an opportunity to meet players that they wouldn't normally meet, you know. And like you say, Tom Boyd goes the extra mile. He really does. And, you know, I'm surprised. I don't know where he gets the time, because I think he must be a patron of about, you know, half a dozen, maybe more, you know, charities, you know, and he gives his time up freely for all of them. So, well done, Tom.
I know, big shout out. We appreciate all of you, Scott Brown.
Yeah, even though it took him about 5 years to figure out what my name was. You know? At one time, the guys were going to put a sticker on saying "My name is Pat" every time I was at a function, so they would know who I was.
Scott Brown last year at our golf day. Another amazing privilege to have a wee chance to have a wee chat with Scott Brown and interview Scott Brown. And I remember I got him in another room, you know, just for it to be a wee bit quiet for the mic and stuff. And I just remember thinking, wow, like here Scott, he's an absolute legend, or for me anyway. I know we don't know what the future holds for Celtic tomorrow or the rest of the season, but no matter what, for me, Scott Brown is a legend. He brought us the treble, and he captained us to an invincible season. So honestly, he's fantastic. We don't have long to go, so I would just like to take this time just to thank the three of you, not just for tonight, but for being amazing trustees for 10 years. Not only you guys, but also Joe Mackin and Gillian McCall, who are two of the 5 trustees who are doing an absolutely amazing job. Neil, Paul, Sean Paul, all of our Matchday volunteers, Cheese and Tommy, Sarah and Sarah who organises the Christmas party. We really appreciate you all ever so much. And also, of course, all of our supporters as well. We won't be going away just yet. We'll be sticking around for years and years to come, no matter what a post-COVID world presents for us. So thank you very much to everyone who makes the Kano ever so special. Paul John Dykes, thank you very, very much for having us on this evening, and thanks for all of our listeners. Please do, everyone, raise money, raise funds for these fantastic causes, and have a fantastic day tomorrow. No matter what the outcome, tomorrow is something to be celebrated as a Celtic fan. And I'm not going to lie, I'm Britain it. We all are. I would just like to give a big shout out to Stevie Dodds, who is now going to take us out with a very special rendition of Let the People Sing. Please sing along if you know the words, and sing along if you know these extra special words. So thank you very much, guys. Mwah. And I can't wait to see you all again. Talking to you, by the way.
This is for you guys.
with a four-leaf clover on my breast, and the Kano scarf around my neck. Big Brian Ainsley, he roars the songs, and the Kano kids, they sing along. It's been 10 years since we set out. In the Lisbon line stand, we sing and shout. Sometimes we stand upon the seats to watch the Celtic inflict defeats. With a four-leaf clover on my breast, and the Kano scarf around my neck. Big Brian Ainsley roars the songs, and the Kano kids, they sing along. They come from all the Celtic lands. They take their place in the stands, free of charge. They watch the games, all in the name of Martin Kane. With a four-leaf clover on my breast, and the green and white upon my chest. Big Brian Ainsley roars the songs, and the Kano kids, they sing along. Now in our 10th year, we've won the 9, but can't be there to sing this time. We cannot wait to meet again, to watch the Celtic win the 10. With a four-leaf clover on my breast, and a Kano scarf around my neck. Big Brian Ainsley roars the songs, and Joe Mackin, he sings along. With a four-leaf clover on my breast, and the green and white upon my chest. It's such a joy for me to say, and I play football the Celtic way.